Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Now, today I am joined by the beautiful Elizabeth Suggs. Elizabeth, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing very well. I am so excited to finally make this happen. But before we talk about why you're here, Liz, I would like for the people that don't know you to get to know you a little bit. Liz is the founder of the LUW Romance Writers Chapter. That's a hard one to say for me, LUW. I don't know why, but that one is just hard for me to go off of. As well as co-owner of the indie publisher Collective Tales Publishing and owner of Editing Me, and is the author of a growing number of published stories. So obviously you've been a writer for a while. What gave you the push and the drive to want to become a writer?
Well, I mean, I've always been a writer since I was a kid, and but like what pushed me to publish, I think it was just I mean, everyone has that dream of wanting to publish or whatever it is they want to be a famous musician or a famous actor or whatever. And I wanted to be a famous writer. Who knows if that'll happen, but I what really pushed me to do publishing was because I wanted to get other authors also published. And so my
Mhm.
first anthology or first book, and a lot of the other books that I'm part of now are just anthologies, so collections of different stories and different authors. And that's like, I mean, I write every day. Like I want to, publish my own thing, but that's the main driver right now of publishing is just like seeing people who have never published before get published or people who have published. Like, I don't know. It's a really good feeling.
Right. And it's funny because I always try to be as connective with my guests as I can. Now, the reason I'm wearing my Tales from the Hood t-shirt is because this is an anthology movie. And I know that you are in a number of anthologies. And to me, whether it's on paper or on film, anthologies are one of my favorite types of media because you can have, let's just go with film, you can have four stories, one not so good, but still have an overall amazing experience with the media. And the same thing with books. You can have, 50 stories, two of them aren't very well, up to 10, you could have 10 of them that aren't very well, but you're still going to enjoy overall this media that you're reading. And, like I said, you're a writer, you're a publisher, but you also are a book reviewer, a popular bookstagrammer, and cosplayer. And when you're not writing or reading, you're playing video and board games and making cookies, which I'll take the cookies whenever you have the chance. But
Thank you.
I do got to ask, obviously, you are a book reviewer, a very popular bookstagrammer. You're a publisher, you're a writer. What made you want to kind of take that over to Instagram?
Well, I mean, I wanted to make books fun. I mean, a
Mhm.
lot of people are there's lots of readers out there, but I feel like, I mean, the Instagram, like on Instagram, there's this thing called Bookstagram. It's just like a community of people, and they're really, really good about it. But I was hoping with cosplay and that sort of thing that I could kind of transcend more than just the Bookstagram community and get people who are like, oh, maybe I should pick up reading it. Because obviously someone doesn't like reading, they'll never read. But like I'm hoping like the people who just stopped reading for a little while, like maybe I'll remind them like, oh, hey, there's like tons of things. You don't have to read a book. You could read a graphic novel. And so like
Sure.
that's kind of my goal is to get people more reading more. But,
And
yeah.
that's a great goal. And I got to ask, you talk about how you play video games.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite video games?
Well, probably some scary ones. I really like BioShock and Soma. I actually, because of the show Last of Us, I got inspired to replay that, so I've been replaying that. Um, and but I also like Stardew Valley, which is not scary, but so I have like a whole range of different games that I like.
I do want to say The Last of Us is some bullshit, the TV show, because Joel does not die half as much in that show as he does in the video game when I play it. I just want to throw that out there. Like that's some bullshit. Like they need to make it more like the video game and have him die every 20 minutes or so and then get frustrated and just look up at the sky and start spinning for no reason at all. So if you want to
Yep,
make me believe you TV show, you need to make it more like the video game.
I know.
Um,
I was like rage, but like I can't die anymore. Just
right. Oh, he
yeah.
took out the clicker his first time. Okay, TV
Oh my God.
show.
I know, seriously. I'm like, are you serious? Like, you know how many times I've had to like kill those clickers? Like, or like when the zombies come, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be like, uh, yeah, I die a lot because I like, I'm one of those people who I really like. I know there's like stealth is good and I do stealth, but I have a joy just like going in and just like guns
Guns blazing.
so yeah,
Yeah.
I die a lot. So, yeah, it should be more like the video game. That's true.
Growing up, okay, I'm a few moons older than you, but I grew up with like Contra and Double Dragon, and there was no stealth involved. You just go in, guns blazing, and whatever happens, happens. We're gonna then that's grown with Zelda, like
Baldur's
I
Gate.
oh exactly. And I see I have on my leg, my upper leg, I have a Super Nintendo controller, and I got a vine wrapped around it, and it's got the Konami code, the up, up, down, down, left, right, BA start. I got that tattooed on my leg, and um, even now, like I don't game as much anymore just because of free time. But I really did like The Last of Us. I thought The Evil Within was super dope.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's really good. Yeah.
I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan. I've been a Kingdom Hearts fan for a long time. Um, I'll always dig those games. But on top of that, we also talked about book reviewing, books to grammar. Two of your stories, though, I wanted to talk about this before we get into why you're here. We're in a podcast and poetry journal.
Yeah.
Now, something that I think we were talking about anthologies earlier, and another great thing about an anthology, especially more towards the literature side of things, when you have especially many different authors in an anthology, where that could be super beneficial is somebody that hasn't heard of you, but has heard of another one of the authors in this story is going to learn about your work through this. Now, do you purposely go and try to write for anthologies, or would you rather write your own novel?
Well, I mean, there are some times where I do write a story to a specific theme. Like one of my friends, I'm his editor. He wrote this amazing novel about this whole universe of black and white and how this person sees color and that sort of thing. So he was working with this publisher to make an anthology about like kind of like a theme of that. And so I was like,
Sure.
oh, I'm gonna try doing that. So and sometimes like if with my collector tales, if like an anthology, I'm like really inspired, like I'll do a story towards that. But I do though I do like writing two anthologies. It is kind of frustrating sometimes when you're like, oh, I got rejected. And then you just like, but like that's okay. But I do really love writing novels. That's like because I every single day in the mornings I'm writing my novel.
Mhm.
But in the evening I might write my short story, so like it's it's the passenger to my driver.
And you're talking about the rejection that comes along with it. That's something I've learned in this business. For every one yes you hear, you're going to hear 100 no's.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, where this is a blessing for me, when you grow up with a face like this, you're
Yeah.
used to hearing no a lot. So
Mm.
I was ready for it when I got here. But it's amazing to know all the hard work that you've done and how it has paid off. And for those of you that aren't already, I do have all of Liz's social media links down in the description. So make sure you're following her on social media so you can stay up to date on everything she has coming up and catch up on all the things that she's already done if you haven't already. So um, you have written some horror stories, obviously, and we've talked about how you do play some scary games. But in order for that to happen, Liz, horror had to start for you somewhere. So I would like to go back to the past and talk about what got you started in the horror genre, your first horror movie. And Liz, the first horror movie you watched was,
Jack Frost.
boy, oh boy, what a start to your horror life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Most of the horror starting it was like 80s, just gore fest, I swear. But yeah.
Well, and Jack Frost is a movie that's known in the community far and wide. But do you remember about how old you were the first time you had seen it?
Oh, I was like 10 or something. Like I was young. I might have been even younger. So this is when I lived in Vegas. So I would have been probably between third and fifth grade.
Great. And
So
I'm sure that you're going into this like, oh hey, Jack Frost, yay, how or yay, Christmas. Let's make some snowballs. Whoa, okay, slow down.
the
Get out of the shower,
bathtub
mister.
scene. No, I think like I don't remember a lot of it, but I remember the bathtub scene where the guy, like, Jack Frost comes in and then he like, he like becomes the snowman around that woman and then she dies, So,
Right. Which is Shannon Elizabeth, funny enough. That's
oh,
that's what makes it even funnier now to think about looking back on. But do you remember who you were with the first time that you had watched it?
Yeah, I was with my old friend named Darlene. I don't talk to her anymore. But she was the one who kind of got me into watching scary stories. We watched Tales from the Crypt a lot, and we watched the Leprechaun. Like we watched like I don't know where her parents were, but we were always just watching like shows in her house. Like I was like sneak over and yeah, but oh, we were
That's so awesome. Well, and it's funny, because even though, like you said, you guys may not communicate anymore, but you could, remember some of these old
yeah.
movies that you watched with her, and think back about those times of being in the house and being young and doing the things that you knew you weren't supposed to do, which made it even more fun to do them. So we talked about which scene it was that you really remember the most. The bathtub scene. Would you say that that was the scene from Jack Frost that affected you the most?
It probably did. It probably did. Like, because I still think about it, and I don't know, like, because it was. I don't know. It's the same with. Because there's a lot of horror movies that kind of objectify women and like and they do these things where it's like what because I also watched Evil Dead and I love that, but like that tree scene, and so like those scenes where I'm um like I don't know, so I don't know if like I don't know, I was just like curious, like it was like kind of like intense and scary, but also like it didn't maybe I'm like messed up, but it didn't bother me like it should like to other people. Like I wanted to keep watching for.
Well, one thing I want to say, like, I'm not trying to talk for you, but
Yeah.
as a young, 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old girl, you probably didn't understand the extremeness of the sexual assault that was going on at this point.
Yeah.
Like at that age, especially, we don't consider what sex is and the forced nature of that. So what I didn't know for the look, 'cause I watched this movie young too.
Yeah.
I didn't realize what the hell was going on, and I was old enough to know, but it just like the tree scene in Evil Dead, like I knew it wasn't good, but I didn't realize how extreme it was. Sexual assault is, and people joke and laugh about, oh, Jack Frost, the snowman, sexual assault's never funny.
Yeah, of course.
It's never humorous,
Yeah.
but if you're gonna have a sexual assault scene, you know, I guess with a snowman would be the preferred way because it's so goofy, I guess.
Like it's so
Um,
memorable, right? It's like, yeah.
right, like Frosty, what the hell, man? I gave you the hat and that's how you repay me. Um, you
Nice.
know, it gives a whole new meaning to, what's that Christmas carol where they say trying to marry the snowman. I don't remember which one it is, but yeah, you can do the job while you're in town, I guess.
Why not?
So it's yeah, it goes back to it's an extreme way to get a reaction. And obviously, you watch it as an adult and I see it. And like I said, sexual assault to me is something that's my trigger. Some people have their triggers, it's jump scares or it's children or animals being hurt. Fuck them kids. For me, it's sexual assault. I can't do it. It really, really makes me uncomfortable. So it is a scene for me, even, though it's a snowman and it's played off for laughs, it's still one of those scenes where I'm like, ugh, do we have to see all this? But just like you said, it did its job, especially you as a young lady. It's something you really remember. It really stuck with you from the film. And a question I've been asking, Jack Frost, it is, I believe, I want to say early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah, I think
So
it was
we've
late
had that.
90s. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had that 20-year gap now. So is
Mhm.
Jack Frost a movie that you would like to see try to be remade today?
Oh, I don't. Didn't they remake it or something? I was like, I think I
Um,
Googled it just to like update myself, and I don't know if there was like a new. Well, maybe it was Jack Frost 2. Maybe that's what I was looking at. But I don't know if it would age well. Like I don't think it should be redone.
right. Yeah, leave it there. At
Yeah.
least they tried some practical effects in the movie. I feel like now it would just be so overtly CGI that it would just
Yeah,
be
exactly.
ridiculous. Um, so we know about your first horror movie being Jack Frost, and obviously as a young lady, it's a movie that definitely affected you and it stuck
Yeah.
with you because you remember it to this day.
Yeah.
But now, a question I do ask everybody, my little buddy Ghostface is here, and he has a question for you. What's your favorite scary movie, Liz? What is your favorite horror movie of all time?
Oh, that was amazing. I would probably say Evil Dead. I love Evil Dead. I like the second Evil Dead, and I like Army of Darkness. Like I like that whole little. I know there's the three, so
Mhm.
because I think because there is like ridiculous things and there's graphic things, but like I don't know. I remember that more fondly because that was one of the ones that I actually watched. I didn't watch with my dad, I don't think. I don't think he would have allowed me to, but I watched it. It was one of his movies. And then
Mhm.
later when he found out when I was older that I'd watched it, we kind of bonded over it. And like, and I even played like a D&D of like, it was like an Army of Darkness. And I watched like the Ash versus Evil Dead, right? Or
Mhm.
yeah, something. And yeah, I don't know. It just brings fond memories. It makes me think of my dad.
Yeah, and Evil Dead is I've always said the top three horror franchises in my opinion when it comes to consistency and well-made films have always been Child's Play,
Yeah.
Evil Dead, and Saw. I think those are the or not. Yeah, the I'm sorry, Child's Play, Evil Dead, and Scream.
Okay.
Saw
Yeah.
is in there for my
Yes.
top five favorites, but when it comes to the consistency and well-made films, I've always said Child's Play, Evil Dead, and Scream have
Yeah.
consistently put out the best quality of film. Now we just got Scream 6, which I won't get too into because it's so fresh. I don't want to give spoilers, but we do have Evil Dead Rise coming up, another chapter in the Evil Dead saga. Is that something that you're excited about?
I did not know this was coming out. I am very excited. So, because I played there are PlayStation 2 games of Evil Dead. Did you
Oh,
know
they're
that?
amazing. Fistful of Boomstick and
Yes, yes,
um,
yes.
Hail to the King.
Yeah, no, I love I'm super excited. Thanks for telling me that.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed that I don't know that, but yeah.
Yeah. When we're done here, I'll shoot you over the trailer. I think you it
Yeah.
looks well, what I love about Evil Dead is every single movie could be
Yeah.
its own standalone film. Like they
Yes,
don't have to
exactly.
have the connective tissue between them. And this one just looks. Did you see the 2013 remake of Evil Dead?
And it was like with the woman as the main character.
I
Yeah.
love that movie
Yeah.
so much. Like and that's what this one is like. It's very dark,
Uh-huh.
very, and it takes place in a city. It takes place in a high rise,
Hmm.
and it just looks. And at the time of filming, it has 100% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. So
Oh wow.
very excited to see where we go with this because Evil Dead, like I said, it's a franchise that means a whole lot to me. I've got my Necronomicon sitting right here. It's
Oh,
always with me. So I definitely respect the love for Evil Dead, and I'm going to be the guy that, I'm that jerk off. At the time of filming, obviously, Evil Dead Rise hasn't come out yet, but the first Evil Dead, the OG one, is my
oh yes.
least favorite in the franchise.
No, and I don't think that is that makes complete sense because do you know the history behind all of that?
Oh yeah, how that one was just like his
Yeah,
Sam Raimi's.
yeah, like they couldn't get excuse me. They couldn't get sorry, hold on.
Oh, you're right.
I have a little bit of cough. But yeah, they couldn't get the copyright for
Hmm.
that or like it was something like that so they redid it. So I think the second one and Army of Darkness were way better.
Yeah, the second one is one of my favorite movies of all time, let alone my favorite in that franchise. And Army of Darkness, like I said, it's so amazing. Like the comedy lands, everything in that movie, whether it's my fair lady, like it's just so funny, and the one-liners are
Mm.
great. Shop smart, shop S smart,
I
and
love that.
obviously growing up a Michigan guy, I'm born and raised in Michigan, so. The
Mhm.
Evil Dead franchise has always been very close to me because it's always taken place in Dearborn, Michigan. If you believe in the
Oh,
the timeline of it, so um, it's just always been a franchise that I've been very close to. And Bruce Campbell
I
he's
love
just a one man wrecking crew. The guy is so good.
yeah.
And Evil Dead 2, like he carries, 80% of the movie is just Bruce, and he completely carries the film and just he owns that role. And it's funny if you watch like we just had a marathon of them not that long ago,
Oh,
and
cool.
like you watch one,
Yeah.
two, three, and then Ash versus the Evil Dead, and the way that his character alone grows just
Yeah.
from one to three is so funny because he's almost timid and meek in the first one, and then in three, give me some sugar, baby. Like he's just like this total like dude, bro. And by the time you get to the third one, so um,
Yeah.
yeah, I've had an amazing time, Liz, talking to you about your first horror movie, talking about some of the work that you've done. And I want to remind everybody, all of her social media links are down here in the description. So, like I said off the top, I don't bring people on here unless I completely respect and admire what they do. So please make sure you're checking out all her social media links. You can catch up on all the literature she's done and be a part of some of the things she has coming up in the future. I promise you, you're not going to want to miss out on it. But before I let you go, I want to bounce back to Jack Frost, Liz. And what I want to do here is rank this movie on a skull count.
Okay.
Now, we're not judging Jack Frost on acting, score, direction, nothing like that. What we're doing here is strictly ranking Jack Frost on how much it affected you on your first viewing. So, 0 skulls being not effective, 5 being extremely effective. You can use half and quarter skulls anywhere in the middle.
Mhm.
Liz, what would your ranking of Jack Frost be?
Probably 3.5 skulls.
It's right in the middle. And like I said, that's a fair ranking because I think a lot of it might have went over the head, and a lot of it's like, hey, isn't this the one where Michael Keaton dies and comes back as a snowman to help his kid? Oh, sure the hell isn't. So I totally understand and respect, and I admire your ranking. And I do again want to say thank you for coming on and hanging out with me.
Yeah.
Please don't go anywhere. I have a couple more questions for you. Everybody else, as always, if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media as well. We'd love to have you along for the ride. And until next time, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.